First of all, we came together and we decided on a problem statement. To do that, we all wrote individual problem statements which we came up with, and then as a group we sort of laced them together into one streamlined problem statement that defined the problem in the best way. From there we went forward to come up with some designs. Everyone put forward some design ideas of their own, and we came up with some criteria in order to rank our designs so that we could quantify our designs and come up with which reached the certain criteria in the best way, and from there we went forward to choosing our design.
Two problems we experienced during the build were, the first one was on our main wheel, the rope that was wrapped around it was slipping off the side, and that meant that as it started picking up speed and rope was running over it, it would slip off the side onto the axle and it would wrap around it and stop. So we had to adjust that for our final build, and we just did that by gluing little rails around the outside of the wheel that made it about 5mm higher on both sides, and that helped just to keep the string on track as it was coming off the wheel. The second one we realised in the initial testing stages with our prototype was that once we actually released the weight, it hit the bottom and the wheel continued to spin because of the momentum built up between the two cages. So we actually found that the first time we dropped it, it travelled really, really fast, and I actually had to grab it with my hand to stop it from just flying up. So from that we learnt that we're probably going to have to work on some sort of braking system or lower the weights that are dropping it, because it was actually really efficient.
So pretty much from our physics course that we're currently studying, we went through a lot of rotational inertia or pulley systems. And that's where we found out about like the Atwood machine, which is actually used in many modern day elevators. What it does is it reduces the amount of force that we need to lift up the actual machine. The Atwood machine, pretty much all we had to do was counter the force of the eggs and gravity, also the initial inertia of the machine itself. So pretty much, because we had a constraint of not using any energy, it made it the most efficient way to lift up all the cages. Well, because of the lack of specific equipment, so where we could test the exact friction and the specific times of each cage moving up and down, we had a lot of changes between our theoretical data and the actual experimental data. We had to just continuously do tests to work out, well, if it would actually work in a practical environment rather than just our theory. But overall, after the many tests, we found that it did work, but with a few changes. So we needed a bit more force than actually calculated.
So as head of the report team, I had to communicate with all the other heads and obtain information from them that was necessary for the report. So that basically involved talking to them after meetings and trying to get information off them and emailing them to get the essential pieces for the report.
The report was split up between people who specialised in the areas that we were writing about. So for the designs, we got the build team to describe basically where they were coming from and put it together in a manner that fit into the report in a professional manner.
Yeah, I think from the start our Group 1 has worked really well together. Right from the outset we came together and then we identified what each of our main talent areas were. We tried to relate them to the project in terms of research, the theoretical side and the building side. I was appointed as team leader during that phase, and then from there we were able to appoint some sub-team leaders. That process was really helpful in that everyone was able to bring to the table work they were familiar with and also work that they enjoyed doing. From there, people worked within sub-teams, getting together and working before our main group meetings, which made that process run a whole lot smoother, which was very good from my perspective.